Hello, thank you for tuning into my channel. It is Vlogmas in July 2022, day 14, and we're going to have a Throwback Thursday video. So if you want to take a trip down memory lane, please stay tuned. Today is really a great day for the Vlogmas. I'm finally all caught up, which means I only have to do one video per day. And today is Thursday, so we get to do a Throwback Thursday video. This year we are revisiting my polyester quilt, which I constructed from 2 panels that were made by my grandma. So in this video, you're going to see how I chose the accompanying panels for the borders, and probably one of the patterns that I kind of wrote to get these pieces together. There are actually 2 of these videos, so I'm going to share the second one in the description box, and I may share it on the channel at a later date. But go ahead and check this video out. If you are not subscribed, click my picture right there so that we can reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers by July 31st. Thank you in advance for your support. I appreciate you supporting Vlogmas in July, and I'll see you next time. I got some really good feedback last week about this polyester quilt that I want to start. If you have been following along, these are some panels that were made by my grandmother who passed away in 2015. And the panels were given to me, and I'm going to make a quilt with them. This is the poly part, and then we'll deal with the ester part in a little bit. I want to zoom in first and show you the pattern and kind of my plan to work with the pattern. And then we'll talk a little bit about these fabrics, dealing with these panels before I show you some of the fabrics that I've picked out. Let's start with the poly side. It's this side right here. Let me fold this back. Okay, so this inner part here, I have it kind of separated with ink. This is the part that Grandma made, so this is her panel, and then I just kind of color blocked it all around. And what I'm thinking the plan is going to be is to sew chunks together. So this is one chunk, another chunk, and then on the side there are 2 chunks here. The top is 1 chunk and the bottom is 1 chunk. So to put those together first, and then it'll be easy to stitch them along the sides of the panel and along the top and the bottom. The poly side, to me, the inner one is a little more subdued, so I want to bring it out with some modern feeling fabrics surrounding it. So this is the design, and then I'm going to find fabrics in these colors to help fill out that design. Now for the ester side, ester's a little bit more vibrant to me. This inside part with all this white, though, this is what my grandmother had already put together. I was improvising because I couldn't find my colored pencils because one of my children had borrowed them, and so I had to go find them before I could actually finish this out. So to improvise, I've kind of colored with marker here, and then these are kind of bluish green. The cross hatches are the bluish green color that's here at the bottom, and you'll see that later when I put it with the other fabrics that I've chosen. And again, it's still color blocked. In this one, the chunks are a little bit smaller, and they have something in common. There's a long piece, and then 2 smaller pieces make up a chunk. And then the top and the bottom, they're narrower than on the poly side, but you can see that it's just 2 pieces joined together. And I have fabrics chosen for this one. To me, this one is much more bright, and so I want to kind of tone it down with some mostly traditional feeling fabrics. Okay, so let's take a look at these panels and see how we're going to take care of them. I pulled out my laptop because a few of you really made some interesting comments, and I want to kind of go over them right now in the video. Some of them I had never thought about, but I want to just kind of highlight them, and I do read the comments. and I really appreciate them when you comment on my videos. Sherilyn Prost, she was talking about how she has polyester quilts in her family from her grandmother, and she suggested, or she wondered why I wanted to add cotton, or her exact words were, wondering why you are thinking it needs cotton. And I had never thought about that, maybe doing a completely polyester quilt that that I would get, where I could get the fabric by shopping at thrift stores, or purchasing it new if I wanted to. And I was thinking about it, and one thing is that I had already pulled some fabrics from my stash, so I think I'd rather go that route. Also, I want there to be a definite difference between what my grandmother did and what I'm adding on to it. So I want it to be an obvious difference, and I think the fabric, me using cotton and her using her polyester, I think that's going to be pretty cool, a cool contrast in the middle of the quilt. For backing the fabric, Bonita Nance asked about using Pellon SK135 white sheer knit fusible, and I'm going to look at that and see if that's something I can use for the quilt. I do have some backing that I can do for my polyester, but it's thicker. It's what I used for the t-shirt quilts a while ago, so I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to use it, but it might save me a little bit of time and a little bit of money to use what I already have. Let's see. Someone asked about, or suggested, this is Bonnie Lee, she suggested about using a method similar to the t-shirt quilts, which also would be use a really lightweight stabilizer. And then she suggested possibly using a wash away stabilizer or a tear away if I wanted to be able to take them out. J. Mary L.A. Stone suggested washing the polyester in ammonia, and she said that would get the stains out, and then use a low heat dryer. And she said that she, in her polyester, she wasn't even afraid to bleach it a little bit. And so I'm going to take some of that and put it into mine. I was looking and I don't have any bleach. So what I'm going to do is soak my fabrics tonight in just my plain detergent. And then in the morning I'm going to go ahead and put them in a warm water wash and put them in the dryer on a delicate setting, on a low setting. So hopefully the stains will come out, but if they don't, it just adds character, and I'm just going to let it go. Let's see, Jay Mason suggested giving it a good starching, and so after I get it washed, both my fabrics, after I get them washed, I think I am going to have to cut some seams so that it lays flat, not seams, seam allowances, so that my panels lay really flat, or that they can lay really flat, and then give them a really nice press before I add the stabilizer, because I think I may need to cut them. I'm totally nervous about that, but I think I may need to cut them so that they can have a straight edge to stitch along with. And then the last comment I got on this video was from Pat Bowman. She said that she sees where I got my talent for colors. Thank you very much. So for this quilt, I'm really excited about the possibility of making this in honor of my grandma. So what I want to do now is show you some of the fabrics that I've pulled for this, and I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit on the fabrics so that you can see hopefully how they'll work well with the panels. Since I started with the poly side when I was explaining the quilt, let's go ahead and go with the ester side first for fabric selection. This panel, it still has some stains like right here, and I've already actually washed it and let it air dry. I am going to give it one more wash in warm water and see if it pulls some of the stains out. But I want to go ahead and show some of the fabrics that I've chosen. What I try to do is choose a fabric in each of the colors, except for on this side, I didn't choose any white because I feel like this, it already has a ton of white in it. So I'm not going to pull any white, but I did pull light blue, green, I call this orange, dark blue, and a little bit of an off-white. And the off-white is going to be on both sides, so I'll show it with the poly, but it'll be on the ester side as well. Now, so if we start with the light blue, I've kind of turned this side a little bit more traditional. I have a lot of florals. So for my light blue, here's one that I'm going to use, and you can see that it kind of goes with the light blue that's already there. And then for my turquoise, bluish greenish, I pulled these fat quarters that I already had in my stash. And then for this green, I pulled this. This is kind of a tone on tone, and then another floral. But this floral also has, it kind of coordinates with some of the other parts of the quilt. So I'm excited about that. And then there's only one piece of dark blue on the panel, so I've actually pulled 4 different dark blues that can kind of go with it. And I may or may not use each of these. It depends on if they're wide enough for me to get the size that I need. From my my chart with my design on it, there may be some pieces that aren't wide enough, but I wanted to give myself a decent variety of fabrics to choose from. And for the orange, this one kind of sticks out, but it does have some of the bluish greenish. It does have the green, but to me, this one, it kind of sticks out. It doesn't seem like it really goes. These are a little bit iffy as well, but since they were already in my stash, I just went ahead and pulled them. And I think once they're in the quilt, they'll play nice enough so that it'll look nice and give us a nice variety. Just like this, the pieces don't necessarily match, but they kind of have a little cohesiveness about them where they work together. So these are my picks for the ester side. Let me know in the comments what you think about those. Let's look at Polly and see what we have in store for her. Here are my fabric pieces for the poly side. Again, we're looking for fabrics in each of the color families. So we have brown, we have a purple, there's an off-white, there's a light brown, and there's a green. So let's start with the green. Actually, no, let's start with the off-white. I have 3 choices for the off-white that I can use. I think that this middle one, this is one of the grunge fabrics. I think that this can go on the other side, on the ester side. It's very cool. And then I think on the poly side, I'm going to use a combination of this one with this silver and then this fabric that has televisions on it. And this, I like it because it has all the colors in the quilt. So there's orange, there's the green, there's the light blue that's actually on the other side, and so it can kind of tie that together. And so I really like that one. But I also like this because it has that touch of silver, and I just think that's so cool. Okay, and this one can coordinate with those, and so they'll tie in on the other side as well. For the green, I've actually pulled these 2. They don't exactly go with each other or exactly with the quilt, but I think that's a part of the little modern flair for it. I'm actually leaning more towards this one because it doesn't have as many extra colors. And I think there's plenty so that if with either one of these, I think I can get all the pieces. For the orange, I actually have 2 that I'm going to use, I think, depending on the size pieces I need. This is left over from something that I found. It's called Sweet Safari. And I'm just going to take some liberty with this one and just say that it's an orange and use it how I want to. And then this orange as well. And this orange, this green, and this, the TV fabric, they're all in the same fabric line. So that's cool. And I think, oh yeah, this one too. So 4 of these are from the same fabric line that I really like. And I think these are some that I got in New Orleans when I went on that trip last year. So these are 4 of them. For the dark brown, for the light brown, I'm going to take a liberty and use this as a light brown. I feel like it has enough contrast between the orange and the off-white. So I'm just going to take liberty because it brings 3 of these colors together, the off-white, the brown, and the orange. It brings them together, and I love it. And then last but certainly not least is purple. And I have a couple choices. I'm going to use up the smallest bits of fabric first. If you've seen my video for the street art quilt, this is a part of that backing. And depending on how big a piece I need, I'm just going to cut it if it means that I get a seam line in it. If I get a seam line, that's okay. I'm just going to use what I can. I'll get the biggest pieces out of it first, and then whatever else I need out of it. And then I have some more pieces. These are all from the backing of that. So I'm just going to see what all I can get out of it for the purple. If I use a lot of it, that's fine, but I don't think I need that much. I'll just pull it, and whatever I need, I'll use. Okay, and then the last is the dark brown. And this dark brown is going to be on both the Poly and Esther side. I think I have enough. And again, I'm taking liberty because it is not brown. It is burgundy, maroon, something like that. But it does have some green and maybe orangey reddy color. So, and I think it'll be good to coordinate both the front and the back of the quilt, both Poly and Esther. So these are my fabrics for this quilt. I think this project is going to be a really good one for me because I am sort of stretching myself as far as my quilting goes and trying something new with some new fabrics that I haven't worked with before in quilting. So I'm ready to get started and see what this is going to turn out like. In the comments, please tell me if you stretched yourself on a project. What was your favorite stretch and what was your favorite thing to try that was new? If you have any questions about this process, you can check out last week's video where I talk a little bit more in detail about the pattern. If you have questions about the fabrics that I'm adding or any of these other parts of this project, I would love to hear them. Leave them in the comments. Thumbs up this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Next week, we should be able to start putting some of this together. So I'll see you next time. Bye!